My, oh my, the Philadelphia Phillies are heading to the NLCS for the first time since 2010 after the 8-3 victory over the Atlanta Braves. I can't believe it. First, the euphoria. Brandon Marsh hitting a 3-run home run coming up the big stick there against Charlie Morton in this game, giving the Phillies a fine lead early in the ball game. And then Bryce Harper takes over, JT Realmuto takes over, and this team just rakes. Meanwhile, and we'll go over it in a second, every arm almost out of the bullpen did what they needed to do, a run here and there, scattered some hits, scattered some runs, and you were good to go. And the Phillies, who, just as a reminder, they weren't like the Atlanta Braves. Oh, no. They weren't like the New York Mets, and they'd go off and win in 100 games like a bunch of show-offs, like a bunch of dopes. No. They stay humble. 87 wins. They win the first round of the playoffs easily against the St. Louis Cardinals. No problem. Book it. Advance. Take on the NL East champions, the defending World Series champion Atlanta Braves, and they finish them off like they were nothing. I can't get over it. I really can't, because like 2 weeks ago, I'm tweeting and talking to you fine people. I'm taking hits on the show here, talking to you fine people about this. Playoffs. Are the Phillies going to make the playoffs? Phillies are still making the playoffs. And people are like, oh, why would you want them to? They're just going to get embarrassed. Now they're 4 wins away from a trip to the World Series. What? How about that? And I'll tell you this. I was at the game last night. Randomly, some of you know I recently had a birthday, and there's a knock at my door, and my dad's at the door, and my brother Michael. Okay, I have one brother, one sibling, my older brother Michael, and hey, happy birthday, you're going to the game. So we went to the game. Me, my dad, my brother. I can't remember the last time we all went to a game together. And you know what it really hit me? That the Phillies were not only just like doing well, but they were in the playoffs. When it really hit me, it was the first time I walked through that turnstile in over a decade. And a nice older lady handed me a rally towel. She said, the big boxes of rally towels. Here you go, sir. Enjoy the game. And I'm like, oh, my God, I've been waiting for this for so long. And there it was, the beautiful Red October rally towel. Took it to my seat, watched the Phillies rake, watched Bryce Harper hit a ball deep into the twilight sky of yesterday's game, and then do it today again for his third home run of the postseason. He has been the leader. He has been exactly who you have wanted him to be since the minute the Phillies signed him. He was MVP when he was with the Nationals. I don't know if he'll ever do it again. Did it again. He had gotten to the playoffs with the Nationals. We do it here in Philadelphia. Did it again, and for the first time in his career, although he had advanced to the NLDS a few times there with the Nationals, he has never been in the NLCS, and that's where he finds himself right now, looking to put his Phillies team, this Bryce Harper Phillies team, this franchise, into the World Series. Now you've got him into the NLCS. Now you got to get him to the World Series. 4 more wins until you are in that World Series. I can't even believe the words I'm saying to you. I've always been a baseball first guy. I've always been a big baseball guy. Always been a Phillies first guy. But, man, it just feels so damn good that this team, for a team that was one of the highest payrolls in baseball, for a team that is going over to luxury tax for the first time in their history, it's like, oh, well, they're doing what they should do. But as we watched them throughout the season and we watched them in September, it didn't seem like they were going to do anything special. Maybe make the playoffs and give us a little bit of a thrill. Certainly not get into the NLCS, but yet that's where we are right now. They have done it with different guys stepping up at the right time. They have done it with the bottom of the order, whether that's Gene Segura, whether that's Bryson Stott, whether that's today it's Brandon Marsh, whoever it might be. They are just stepping up. Every single guy is stepping up to make things happen for this Philadelphia Phillies team, and it absolutely blows my mind. Then I'll show you this. Just look at the pitching staff today. All right, this is right off of ESPN. Syndergaard gives you 3 solid innings to start things off. The 1 home run he gave up. Bilotti, same thing. Alvarado got charged for a run right there. He gave you an inning and 2/3. You had a guy like Sir Anthony Dominguez earlier in this series give you a couple of more innings than he normally does. He really holds steadfast throughout this series. Zach Eflin, I'm excited. Now, here's a little thing just for the future, okay? Sir Anthony Dominguez, I'm watching the game at home. Sir Anthony Dominguez it changed his entrance music. Now, he pitched the 9th inning in this ballgame, okay? He changed his entrance music to the Game of Thrones sound theme song. Okay, great. Obviously, any game Sir Anthony Dominguez is, I hope it doesn't have a horrible ending like the actual Game of Thrones did, but push that aside for a second. Sir Anthony Dominguez comes in there to introduce the theme song. I was scratching my head, and for those who watch my show, I didn't know how, as Zach Eflin, I didn't know how he all of a sudden became the closer. I understand how he all of a sudden became a bullpen guy, and to be honest, it wasn't even really all of a sudden, considering when he came out there to pitch out of the bullpen. We kind of knew it was coming because of the injury. He wasn't going to be able to go in your starting rotation anymore. You wanted to get something out of him for the rest of the season. You needed bullpen help. Bang, he's there to give you bullpen help. But as a closer, no thanks. Leaves a lot to be desired. And he shouldn't have been put in that position, but that's the position he was put in. I'd much rather have Sir Anthony Dominguez in that spot. I would even rather have Jose Alvarado in that spot. And by the way, there is a gratuitous love affair going on right now between the city of Philadelphia and Jose Alvarado. Oh, man, it is gratuitous. You hear Jose Alvarado after they clinch a playoff spot addressing the media. Guy does not speak English well, speaks English almost better than I do admit. But he comes out there and he's like, no, I want to talk. I want to talk to the fans. And he says how much the fans mean to him while they're in the clubhouse down there in Houston, how excited he is. He's got champagne. He's got the goggles on, the skiing glasses on, the whole thing. And he loves the fan base. He just wants to continue to win and to perform well. And then he walks off the mound tonight. And he's got his arms up in the air. Man, walks off to the mound in the afternoon. Arms are in the raucous ovation. Gratuitous, I'll say it again, ovation for the Philadelphia Phillies fans. And they're just showering praise and standing ovation upon Jose Alvarado. And he just raises his hands as if to hug the entire city of Philadelphia. That is beautiful. And all of a sudden, this bullpen, you got confidence in the bullpen. You got confidence, of course, in your starting rotation. And you got confidence, and not just some of your big horses in this lineup. Now, Rhys Hoskins has struggled, but he had the big hit yesterday. So continues to struggle in the field. That's no surprise, but the big 3-run home run yesterday. Kyle Schwarber has struggled. He tried to find other ways to help this team win. He has done that. He's at least forced himself on base by drawing a couple intentional walks right there. Harper, of course, has been hot, but then you got Segura, you got Stott, you got Castellanos helping out in other situations, like helping get this team off to a 1-0 start to start this 5-game series. Ended up only being 4. And it's exactly what the Phillies needed to do by getting everybody through this lineup to contribute. And that's exactly what they have done to get to the playoffs. And that's what they have done since they have gotten into the playoffs. Whether it's Eddie Sosa helping you out towards the end of the season with a couple of RBIs in clutch the last couple of weeks of the season, or whether that's Nick Castellanos who didn't swing the bat well all year, all of a sudden putting forth a great effort in the 2 to 3 RBIs in game 1 of this series. It's different guys throughout the way. Garrett Stubbs hitting a walk-off home run for you in the season against the Marlins to get that monkey off your back. Different guys have stepped up. The lesser-known guys, the non-big money guys have gone out there to help you win ball games. And that's ultimately what has to happen. And then the guy that obviously has got the contract extension in Philly, Rob, deserves this so much because I thought the transition of Girardi to him really made this the players' team. He gave this team back to the players in a sense. It was a totally different atmosphere, and I thought Dave Dombrowski did a wonderful job, and I heard Big Poppy refer to it on the postgame real quick, where he was just talking about how he had played for Dave Dombrowski in Boston and how that guy knows what it takes to put winning teams together, and that's what he put together here, where a lot of it, you got to find those chemistry guys, those glue guys. Well, they found that glue guy and that chemistry guy in the form of a new manager, and that manager's name is Philly Rob Thompson. We had Garrett Stubbs on the show some time ago, and he said he just has us all play with this bleep you mentality. And how do you not love that? How do you not want to play for a guy that instills that type of mindset in you? Oh, you're down a couple of runs here? Bleep you, I'm coming back. Oh, your pitchers are struggling today? Bleep you, I'm going to score 10 runs. Like, any problem that comes up, that's Philly. And we never see that from Rob Thompson. We never see that in his press conferences, interviews, nothing. Well, we just try to do a better job with the way that everyone's playing, and everyone's hopefully tomorrow they play a little better. The guy that he is behind closed doors, it might be the speak softly but carry a big stick type of guy. And that's what Garrett Stubbs told us a couple of months ago about this manager. And the attitude and mindset he's instilled in this clubhouse has only carried this team into the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying it's all him, but the atmosphere, you can't deny the about face this team had. What, 8 games under 500 when Joe Girardi got let go to a team that was 16, 17 games over, 19 games over 500 with Rob Thompson. Unbelievable. And to think about this, as they were going through yet another sub-500 September. Will they hold on enough to outlast the Brewers? Well, they did, just barely. And they make it through the St. Louis Cardinals. They make it through the world champion Atlanta Braves. A division rival that, although going in the last couple of weeks of the season, they were even with at 500 apiece, or excuse me, a 500 baseball, 6 wins apiece, I believe it was, before the Braves really started to take advantage of the Phillies later in the season. Oh, they look like they belonged in the same field. But, man, they belong in the same field in this game. And I am shocked that a guy like Ronald Acuna Jr. just forgot how to play right field. Like, I know he's not an amazing, incredible right fielder, but, man, it comes down to a lot of times effort, and that effort went by the wayside. The JT Realmuto inside the park home run. Holy pots and pans, man. He belts that ball off the perfect angle in center field, rounds the bases. Acuna makes no effort towards the ball whatsoever. I'm thinking you got JT running the bases. Not only does he run well for a catcher, but this guy books it every single time. This guy is going 100% all the time. And that's exactly how you ended up getting another run in that ball game. And then he legs out an RBI infield single later in the game. Like, this is JT Realmuto at his best. Like, go ahead and underestimate this guy for a second. That he can't run because he's a catcher. I think the whole league knows he can run, but even a guy like Acuna should know that he's going to be making his way around second base, thinking nothing but home on that inside the park home run. It's really wild. This team this season has put their I mean, the money was there all along, but they have put their money where their talent is, I guess would be the way to say it. And I know Kyle Schwarber has been struggling. There's no denying that. Rhys Hoskins up until the 3-run home run yesterday, struggling. We got that. And I said today, it was great. By the way, here is your box score for those that didn't check it out just yet. Here's what you had today. Hoskins got to 2 hits today, which was great. Got another RBI. That's great. JT had the 2 hits. Mentioned the infield RBI single. Mentioned the inside the park home run. Harper came up with a big hit for you as well as the home run. Castellanos took the 0 for today. Bohm got you a hit. Stott came up for a hit. And then you got Gene Segura with a 3-hit day and Brandon Marsh finishing things off 2 for 4 on the day. So great to see all those guys contributing. Let me see what you guys have to say when it comes to this fine ball game that we watched today. I can put some of you guys up on the old screen here. Hopefully Bryce Harper can stop DMing. You're right on point. I just like the fact that your name is Sports, by the way. I just like the name that your name is Sports. Yes, Trey Turner is going to be a Philadelphia Philly. I have very little doubt in my mind. Ever since Bryce Harper put on the fancy brown suit from My Cousin Vinny and went into the booth like 2 months ago, right before he came back, and he said, "Oh, my favorite player is Trey Turner." You know who his favorite player was before Trey Turner? JT Realmuto. JT Realmuto, now teammates with Bryce Harper. Trey Turner, most likely teammates again with Bryce Harper. We got Sports going up here again. The Fightins. Truth Teller Forion says, let's go! I'm with you 100%. Marquise Graham. What's up, Marquise? My man, Pots and Pants. What's up, Marquise? Wow, 2022 is the best year being a Philly fan. So far, so good. And yes, let's just keep on carrying this there, Philly Shad. Philly Shad? There you go. Eagles tomorrow, Sixers Tuesday. Let's keep it going. Marquise is super excited. Who else? T-Bro! T-Bro, what's up, man? That is a lot of that's you are intense as you should be. This is just a lot of red Philly, and I appreciate that. What do we got up here? Jorge Vaina. What's going on? Vaina? What's going on there, Jorge? Love the cap. Thank you. I'm bald and I haven't shaved my head in like 2 days. Generally speaking, I don't shave my head until like after Thursday during the week, so that's a little crazy. Let's see, Cameron. Let's see here. Or Connor Delaney. What's going on, Connor? I had the game on the radio at work. I haven't been this happy since the Super Bowl. And I get that. Yeah, I'm thinking of, I mean, how do you not, in all honesty? Kevin, what's going on, Kevin? Nice to see you as well. Thank you very much. Kevin's a regular on the show. I can't help but think when I'm watching the Phillies in the postseason, hearkening back to the Phillies in 08 and in 07, and the comparison I made for some people that didn't want the Phillies to make the playoffs, because those people existed. And I'm not just talking about Keith Hernandez or whatever, okay? I'm talking about actual Phillies fans who are like, why would you want them to make the playoffs? They'll just get embarrassed. And I get that. But I still wanted them to make the playoffs. Even if they were going to draw the Mets or the Braves in the first round or Padres or whatever. whoever was going to be in the first round, I wanted them to make the postseason. I wanted Alec Boehm to see the postseason. I wanted Bryson Stott to see the postseason. Hell, I even wanted to see Rhys Hoskins see the postseason. I wanted Bryce Harper, who already got an MVP in his back pocket now as a Phillies player, for him to at least get into the postseason as a member of the Phillies wearing the red pinstripes of the Philadelphia Phillies. I wanted them to get that experience. I wanted JT Realmuto to get that, Aaron Nola to get that experience, Zach Wheeler. 2 years in Philly, still Chris. Zach Wheeler to get that experience. Ranger Suarez. I just wanted them to pitch or to play in the postseason. And now they've done that. And this is why you would always hear from coaches, and Doug Peterson's the one that always jumps into my mind, just get into the tournament. And when you go back to the 2008 Phillies, you have to think about the 2007 Phillies first, because that team snuck up on a lot of people. And all of a sudden, they found themselves in the playoffs. You know what happened when they got in the? You were happy when they beat out the Mets for the division? What did the Mets do? They collapsed. There were 7 games back with 17 left to play, and collapse. That Phillies team in 2007 made the playoffs, and they got their asses kicked by the Colorado Rockies. Excuse me, Rockies. And you know what they did the next year? They came back and won the World Series. After getting swept the previous year, getting embarrassed, they came back the next year, and they rolled to a World Series championship. First one of my lifetime. Shoot, I was like 6 months old when the Sixers won in '83, but doesn't count. This one, the 2008 one, that's the one I remember above all else. And that was the one that made me think, oh, my God, hold on, we're allowed to win in this city? No way. And then 9 years later, the Eagles win the Super Bowl. What's happening? Phillies went back to another World Series. We all know the history, whatever. But for me, I'm watching this game today, and I see that Brandon Marsh home run, and I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking to myself, this is insane. Charlie Morton took the ball off his arm. I was hoping he was okay. You never want to wish ill will on anybody. But when Brandon Marsh hit that 3-run home run in the second inning of today's game, I just thought to myself, oh, my God, the Phillies are going to the National League Championship Series. And my wife, who doesn't follow any of it, just goes, don't say that. Like, she's aware of what a jinx is. And there I would be being a jinx. But for me, I am just ecstatic. I am beside myself with joy. I am so happy that you guys get to experience this, and we all get to experience this, and we all get to party on Broad Possible. We keep that dream alive. If you had to look at it, I mean, you had Aaron Nola pitching last night, and he was incredible. You had your, in essence, a bullpen game today, if you will. Anytime your starter, you're looking at it, maybe giving you 3 innings. He gave you 3 innings. He did his job. He only allowed 1 run. You happened to score 3 while you were in it, so that's great. The Phillies did, that is. But for me, I'm watching this, and I'm going back, and I'm thinking back to 2008, thinking back to 2010, thinking back to 2011, the last time they were in the playoffs, and where we've come, how far we've come as a fan base. I'm thinking about John Middleton going into that locker room in that clubhouse in 2009 and saying to Ryan Howard, I want my bleeping trophy back. And now I'm thinking, you know what? You're 4 wins away from having the opportunity to get that bleeping trophy back from John Middleton. And John Middleton has been right there. He's been real about everything since he's taken over as the managing partner of the Philadelphia Phillies ownership group. Him and the Buck cousins have put the money on the field. They've invested in this team, and now they are in the NLCS. Finally, back in the NLCS. There's a lot of things to look forward to just when it comes up to this series, whether you're looking at the Padres, whether you're looking at the Dodgers, whatever. But for me, I just look at the big guns on this offense. I look at the big bats on this team, and I think about guys like Harper and how he's had it going for the entire playoffs. I think about Castellanos giving us the ups and the downs, the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows of the game, and Schwarber. You're just thinking at some point, he's going to have that 2-home run game. He's going to have that 3-home run in 2 games type of stretch. He's going to have that type of day where he just knocks the cover off the ball, can't do anything wrong. He is just waiting to be your instant offense, where if Wheeler pitches the way he was pitching up until the Rhys Hoskins, I'll call it a butchering because it wasn't an error, so I'll make it something worse. It was a butchering that happened in game 2 of this series in Atlanta. I don't think it's going to be that close if you've got a guy like Schwarber being able to get hot at the right time. And at the right time would be the NLCS. No better time like the present once you're finally in there. And I just continue to be blown away by this team and the guts that they show, and the trust that a guy like Rob Thompson has in his crew is just nothing short of amazing. What's Jake got here? We're still in. Let's go Phillies from Denver, Colorado. Colorado Rockies. There we go. Wait, hold on. We're allowed to have an account named Positive Philly Productions? What? Holy moly, Farzy, I can't control myself. So happy. It is euphoria. In all honesty, that's what it is. It's complete euphoria. I mean, I even thought I was being optimistic and waving pom-poms from time to time when I was talking about how bad I just wanted this team to make the playoffs. And then I watched them come back in the ninth inning against St. Louis, and I'm like, oh, wow. Look at this. This is incredible. And then they win game one against the Braves. Or they beat St. Louis. Win game one against the Braves. I'm like, oh, my God, they're hitting with runners in scoring position? That doesn't happen. They're supposed to go into a tiny little shell when they go into the postseason. They're supposed to get ice cold when they play the Braves. That didn't happen. Zach Wheeler rose to the occasion. Didn't work out for the good of the team, unfortunately, but he rose to the occasion. Aaron Nola, certainly in game 3 of this series, last night at Citizens Bank Park, giving that first home game in 11 years in the postseason to the Phillies fans. Absolutely incredible. And then to watch what they did with a collection of arms today out of the bullpen, including Noah Syndergaard. Oh, man, you just felt like this was going to be something amazing. And that's exactly what it was. And Brandon Marsh helped set the tone for that in the second inning of this game. And I do want to say this. And being there certainly helped. But watching the game from home today and watching them clinch a trip to the NLCS, listening to the announcers constantly applaud the Phillies fans at Citizens Bank Park today warmed my heart. Now, normally, here's how it goes. I normally don't hear it now. Every once in a while, they'll say something. I'm like, wow, huh? And I'll go back and I'll listen. But there were a number of occasions today where they talked about how the Philadelphia fan base, how the Philadelphia Phillies fans brought it to the ballpark. Now, that's not a shock. We know that's what we were going to bring. We knew in the regular season, attendance wasn't great for the Phils, but man, if they got to the playoffs, we knew they were going to be worth the price of admission. And plus, everybody wants to go to games that's breaking the trend of not making the playoffs. So 45,000 plus yesterday, 45,000 plus today. Being there and then listening to the announcers, I have to say this. Phillies fans, you brought it. 2 strikes on a batter, first out, second out, third out, whatever it was. 2 strikes on a batter, you were on your feet. Runner in scoring position, Schwarber comes to the plate, Hoskins comes to the plate, whatever it was, whoever it was, you were on your feet. There was a moment in this game today that I'm like, there's certain moments that happen when, yes, you might be stating the obvious when you say, wow, the fans are really ruckus today, right? It's crazy down there. You might just state the obvious, fine. But when Gene Segura in the first inning fielded a fly ball and was blocking, you could see he was struggling with the sun, and he's blocking the sun while he's trying to track the ball, and then there was a huge ovation for the fans. I think it was like the second out of the inning, and the place went nuts, like somebody just hit a home run. I was like, oh, man. Hey, Atlanta, you're not just playing the Phillies today. You're playing all of Philadelphia today. Good luck to you. Because you don't just got to get through Schwarber and Hoskins and your Real Muto and Harper and these guys and Brandon Marsh and Gene Segura. No, you don't just have to get by them. You have to get by all of Philadelphia. Because even if you weren't part of the 45,000 plus on hand at CBP for either of the 2 games, right? Even if you weren't there in the stadium, you were putting the good vibes over the Citizens Bank Park. You were at your home. You were on your sofa. You were. It was like prayers worked, cheers worked to make sure that this Braves team wasn't going to walk out of Philadelphia and go back to Atlanta with a chance to really win this series and then go on to another NLCS for them and for a chance to win another World Series. No, you weren't beating Philadelphia, Atlanta. That wasn't happening. Braves were not beating the Phillies, and the Atlanta Braves were certainly not beating Philadelphia Phillies, the Philadelphia Philly fan base. Absolutely incredible. Everybody brought it. I was talking to my dad at the game last night. He's like, who would you have as the MVP of that particular game, just last night's game? And I'm like, Harper made runs happen for you. Nola was great early. Didn't go as long as I wanted him to, but still he was great. I think he'd have to go Harper and all that he did in that game, so maybe he'd go the MVP. You talk about this series, and there's no question. You talk about the playoffs so far to this point, Bryce Harper has been the MVP. This is the guy you paid $330 million to. When I wanted the Phillies to sign Bryce Harper, and I'm not saying I'm special in that, everyone wanted, for the most part, Manny Machado or Bryce Harper. And, hey, we might get to see those 2 guys face off against each other. But when I saw that money being thrown around and saw that it was going to go the direction of Bryce Harper, I thought to myself, one of the reasons I wanted him here was not just because of the talented baseball player that he is, and not just because that he could go out there and carry a team at certain times throughout a season and maybe in the playoffs, right? But it wasn't just that. It was the fact that you were going to become the face of baseball. He has a face for baseball. He is a face of baseball. And now he's going to be on one of their highest stages, a championship series, a league championship series. And if that was what you were bringing in here, then you were going to do your best. And this is what it told me. It told me that $330 million to Bryce Harper wasn't just about this one move for right now. It was about attracting other people that would want to play in Philadelphia. And it was also about changing a mindset here in Philadelphia. Because as much as we love JT Realmuto and as much as the ownership group might love JT Realmuto, I don't think he's re-signing here unless Bryce Harper's the guy in the dugout shouting, sign him. I don't think he's leading that charge of the Fandemic crew, if you remember, yelling out, sign JT, and sign JT becoming a huge calling cry for people that wanted JT Realmuto to remain here in Philadelphia, myself included. Even when he was going through his struggles, and I was acknowledging the struggles of the early goings of the season, saying, yeah, not the best catcher in baseball. Let's take that and throw it out the window for a second because he's not playing like that. He was making errors behind the plate. They played a game against the Braves where JT threw it through three different people. One of them was Odubel Herrera, so let's just say two different people, not three different people. But, man, has he turned it around ever since that Toronto series that he didn't play in. Been a totally different player. He has been back to the best catcher in baseball. He's been back to an MVP on this team. This team has taken over without question and changed completely. From maybe some of our farm hands will come up and play well. Maybe Reese Hoskins will once carry this team. Maybe this Alec Boehm guy will once carry it. Maybe this Bryson Stott guy. No, it was bringing in an already certified MVP to change the entire culture of this team and this franchise and change the direction. That was a huge turning point for this team. And now they're back. Now they're back in the NLCS. And it gives me chills just thinking of it. And I know you guys are really excited about it too. Let me get, who do I have up here? Let me see. Stravison. What's up, man? In this decade, two Philly teams have been the last four standing in their sport. They are the Union and the Phillies. Who would have thought? In this decade. Okay, so yeah, the Eagles were a minute ago, not this decade. Marquise, that Phillies game 3 versus Atlanta gave me chills. The fans showed up and showed how hard it is to win in Philly. Yeah, if you're an opposing team, no question about it. Let's get Wayne Miller in here. Wayne, what's up, Wade? Woot, woot. Nice to see you. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. In closing, I'm excited to see what comes up next here for the Phillies. I'm just absolutely thrilled. And I wanted to make sure I got on with you guys to at least give you a little bit of a reaction before we move into a Dallas Cowboy day tomorrow for the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Sunday Night Football. And I wanted to share the euphoria with you. I wanted to share the excitement with you. I wanted to give you my thoughts on the game. And I'm just blown away at how this team has been carrying one another. And it seems like, with the exception of the constant, which has been Bryce Harper, somebody else is stepping up to help carry this team. Whether that's Aaron Nola on the hill, like it was in Game 3, whether that was Nick Castellanos in Game 1, whoever it might be, whether that be Eddie Sosa coming up with some big plays for you as well. I just am beside myself with how well this team has played. And you think about it with the money and all that, and the money is one thing, and the money's great, and go to over luxury tax is great. It shows a commitment to winning, no doubt. But when you underachieve for a lot of the season for a team that is spending that much money, and then you start hitting a big stride once Rob Thompson becomes your manager, and you start to feel like this clubhouse belongs to you again, the player, and you don't feel like you have somebody maybe over your shoulder a little too much, good things can happen. And that's certainly what happened to Philadelphia. That's certainly what happened to the Phillies. And to be in the spot that they're in right now just absolutely blows me away. NLCS, baby. Phillies are back. 4 wins away from a World Series appearance. I'm excited. I know you're excited. Appreciate you guys watching the show. I'll be back with you guys. So I'll be back doing the Farzy show Monday. Don't miss it. And then, you know where else I'll be? I'll be on the Jake and Media YouTube channel tomorrow night before the Eagles-Cowboys game with a pregame show with Seth Joyner, of course, veteran Eagles reporter, my good friend Derek Gunn. Gunner will be doing that as well, and John McMullen will be checking in from the stadium, and that'll be all happening, all going down on the Jake and Media YouTube channel. But for me, on my channel, on this channel, you guys can catch me here Monday morning, 6 o'clock again, recapping all that happened over a very busy weekend. And as for now, I think let's go Flyers. Is that the next? Yeah, we got the Flyers. I didn't see the score. Maybe I can just give you that to you guys real quick because I know you guys are concerned, and I want to make sure I get that. 2-1? I thought it was 2-2. Did it take away a goal? Did a goal get disallowed? It is 2-2. Okay, cool. So there you go. Flyers looking to be undefeated, looking to stay undefeated as well. So that's cool. All right. Hey, guys, have a great, wonderful... What, did I just click something? I'm pushing buttons again. Can't have me doing that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzy. This is the Farzy Show, presented by my man Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Also, those of you in New Jersey, download the Mojo app or go to mojo.com for more information. Treat players in the NFL like stocks. Buy low, sell high, make yourself some money. Check out the Mojo app at mojo.com. Thanks, everybody. This is the Farzy Show, presented by my man Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Have a great rest of your weekend. Hey, go Phils and fly Eagles fly.